Dr. Aria Kova never heard the gears of her Chrono-Traverse engine. She felt them, like thunder stitched into a heartbeat. A violet corona flashed, and she stepped from 2125 CE into a spiral of candle-lit dust. The famed Library of Alexandria, 240 CE, its papyrus stacks still breathing knowledge and hope. Her mission for the Chronological Preservation Agency was simple on the surface: retrieve a single scroll outlining an elementary form of calculus lost to history. But the timeline pulsed with anomalies, and nothing about today would stay simple for long. She moved through cedar-scented aisles cloaked as a visiting scholar. Yet time, jealous and sentient in ways the agency barely understood, had written a secret clause into her path. Cloaked figures known as the Sisterhood of the Meridian intercepted her in a shadowed alcove. These women, guardians of the now that must ever be, recognized Aria's chronal signature at once. Their leader, High Keeper Selene, parted a ring of torchlight and spoke not in threat but in prophecy. The traveler who would mend the rift must cross the meridian bare of crown, announcing allegiance with a shining head, for only what reflects every era can walk through every era. Aria's hand flew instinctively to the tumble of sable curls spilling down her back. The Sisterhood's razors glinted. To decline was to be cast back into her century empty-handed. To accept was to braid herself into a lineage of women who severed their past identities strand by strand to protect time itself. The idea shocked her, yet resonated. She had studied temporal mechanics all her life, but never the rituals that kept its gears aligned. And deep within, she recognized a yearning. To shed more than hair, to shed the subtle arrogance that she alone could fix history. Aria removed her scholar's hood, knelt, and whispered, "Let the timeline read me true." A single obsidian blade met her scalp with a whisper, each pass a black comet streaking through a constellation of falling locks. Stray curls snowed across scrolls older than empires. With every hiss of hair, Aria felt centuries of assumptions lift. When the final strands drifted to the marble floor, torchlight splashed across newly bare skin, and the Sisterhood murmured approval. The smooth curve of her head gleamed like the surface of a pocket watch catching sunrise. Selene dipped fingers in oil infused with crushed lapis and traced a spiral on Aria's crown, a symbol older than the written word, signifying infinity folding back on itself. For one heartbeat the library seemed to spin around her, papyrus rustling like feathers. Then colors snapped into sharper hue. She could see chronal currents coursing through walls and people alike, threads of maybe, strands of must. Aria emerged from the initiation reborn as a chrono sentinel. Under Selene's guidance she wove through hidden corridors to the scroll room. There lay the fragile treatise that, if preserved, would nudge mathematics centuries ahead and fracture the timeline. Aria realized her original directive was flawed. Those equations had to vanish in the infamous fire so humanity's march would not outrun its wisdom. With newly granted sight she watched futures like shards of stained glass. One where the scroll was saved, industrial smokestacks rose by 600 CE, oceans suffocated, and stars stayed forever out of reach. Another where it burned, slower, messier progress, yes, but hearts learned compassion that equations could not teach. Humbled, Aria tucked the parchment among oiled rags destined to ignite at dawn. The Sisterhood sang as flames consumed the stacks, their prayer not for loss but for balance. When orange tongues licked the rafters, Aria slipped back to her engine hidden on the city's outskirts. The initiation oil still shimmered on her shaved scalp, a silent vow echoing across millennia. She re-entered 2125 to alarms in the agency bay. History had righted itself, but the organization's mandate was shaken. Director Malik met her astonished gaze, then her shining head, and understood without words. "You disobeyed the brief," he grated. "I obeyed the timeline," she answered, voice soft yet resonant like echo in a cathedral. The director saw what she had become, a compass unfixed to institutional ego, aligned instead to time's deeper pulse. After a frozen moment he dismissed the onlookers and lowered his voice. "Then the agency will need a new doctrine, and a new trainer for our recruits." His eyes flicked to her bare crown, where the lapis spiral still glowed faintly. "Will you teach them to listen as you have?" Thunder hummed in distant coils of the Chrono-Traverse Engine, waiting. Aria ran a palm over the velvet of her scalp and felt neither loss nor regret, only the cool promise of endless whens and wheres. "Yes," she said, smiling, a luminous arc matching the curve of eternity itself. But first, Director, we must shave their heads of certainty. Somewhere in the stacks of vanished Alexandria, embers lifted sparks into night like stars in reverse, rewriting a sky that would remember her always.